What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Hit that like button, give the video a like, subscribe if you haven't. Let's get into it, okay? Bitcoin's at about 90.3K right now on this, the 3rd of March, not February. It seems as though we're down about 4% right now, right at these prior areas of support where every time that we were down here, people were of the utmost confidence that we would bounce. And now we're at that same area, and I'm sure there are a bunch of people who are, for lack of a better word, crapping their little pants off, even though even though a little standard volatility never hurt anybody at all. Absolutely not, you guys. Absolutely not. We are not going below this low. No, I mean it's possible. Anything can happen. You never know, right? But to say that we're going to go below the slow because of a move that isn't even half as big as what we saw yesterday, no, I don't. I'm not intimidated to say the least. Here we are, 1 hour left in this 4-hour candle, moving down like you have a purpose with dramatically less volume than the volume that sent you up here like you had a purpose. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the 4-hour time frame, you are showing some very bullish readings on the overbought areas here, maintaining levels above the 50. Anytime that you've been above the 50, you've gotten above it and right below it, gotten above it, right below it, above, below, right? Here, you reach for the overbought zone, found a little double top, and what you do, you reject it all the way down. As long as we don't go below the 50, truthfully, I mean, as long as we don't go below the 40, but the 50 would be a nice maintenance to hold there. If we can do that, I think that we're in good shape, right? There's no need to be concerned at this point in time. And if you're concerned, you're just emotional, right? From a low to a high, likely from here we're gonna go lower, my friends. And we were talking about this yesterday. This is exactly what we were expecting to happen. Was that we would move down to something around $88,000 if this was the high, right? If we kept moving up higher, you know, I think I made that video talking about Bitcoin. I think it was on this candle here. So if, you know, that there was still a possibility we could have continued that move up momentarily, but here we're obviously consolidating, okay? So this is the actual high. 88.3K is the target. You've broken through the 236, short of anything, you know, like a close above the 236 and then just immediate rip after this next candle. Short of that happening, I don't see a scenario where we don't see 88,000. In fact, I bet we do break through 90,000. That's going to cause a mass panic for whatever reason. It's a psychological level, and people aren't going to pay attention to the actual things that the price is respecting, which is right here. You know, prior areas of resistance here, that's at about 88.8 thousand. Your fib is at 88.3 thousand. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we even went all the way down to 86,000, you guys. It's totally fine if we do. 83,000 is fine. 80,000 itself is fine. It's still a higher low. And of course, even if we were to go lower, as dramatically sad as that would be for the rest of the markets, because, you know, altcoins would definitely get hit pretty bad. At least I would think so. They didn't get hit that bad on this drop, but you know, only the top 10 really did, or the top like 50 altcoins did. But this you know, there's a chance, I guess, because we did this here where altcoins did not get hurt as bad as Bitcoin and the other cryptos. It was crazy. It's possible this might not be bad for altcoins, or as bad for altcoins as it is for some of the bigger cryptos. But again, even if that happens, we're still going to come up and see new all-time highs after that. The bull market's not over. Even in our wildest, worst nightmares, it's still not over. But I'm fairly confident this is the low. But let's be real. Let's be real. We don't have confirmation yet. It's looking like the low. It's looking pretty good. We had a nice reaction. Don't get me wrong. I mean, hell, if that doesn't look like a low to you on a daily time frame, maybe this will look more like a low to you on the weekly time frame. I don't know what else to tell you. You know, that's a really big wick right there, closing all the way back up above this lowest closing weekly close right here in this top pattern. That tells me that this was a fake out, right? I heard Kevin Svensson call this a demand wick, and I see why, right? There was a lot of demand there. That's why the price shot back up way faster, way faster than it could move down, right? If you're ever wondering who's in control of the markets, it's not always so clear, but sometimes it is. You know, sometimes it's easier to see than you might think. You know, you could just use your eyeballs, right? How long did it take you to move up? You know, even from these levels right here. Well, from this level here, you were there. It took you about a day, 2 days, 3 days to move up to prices that were at 93K. Okay. When you were at 93K, how long did it take you to move down? 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So it took you more time to move down than it did to move up, right? I mean, overall, these bigger candles are to the upside. The smaller candles, even the biggest candles that you can find to the downside, are not as big as the candles that are to the upside. It took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days to get to the low, and it took basically 1-2 days to eat up most of that move. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very obvious who's in control here, and it's not the Bears. Unfortunately for the Bears, it's not the Bears, but they can probably celebrate today, or at least for like the next 4 hours or so. I would assume by the end of today, we not only find this low at about $88,000, probably by the time most of you guys watch this video, but we're likely going to be, if not closing green, at least closing somewhat neutral. I would assume we're back above 93, if not 92,000 by the end of the day. In fact, what I'm going to look for, let's see, is this daily low close. I bet just like this weekly low close right here, how we closed above that, I'm gonna call for that. I bet we close above this line at 92,000 essentially today, and if not, whatever. It's gonna happen tomorrow. Like, we're on our way up, you guys. We're definitely on our way up. The daily time frame here, if we're looking at the RSI, and I say definitely, we don't have confirmation yet. Technically, let's be real. We'll have confirmation, I would say, as long as we hold above 84.7K and we get above 96.2K, that would be confirmation to me that that's the low. We'll have confirmation that we're breaking out to new all-time highs once we get above 105.3K, okay? Look at the 4-hour time frame. Actually, no, I wanted to look at the daily RSI. Daily RSI is still firmly entrenched in its downtrend, right? High here going down. Having a couple of blemishes out to the upside here, but nothing too substantiated yet. I mean, you could argue that we're still in the downtrend. I guess that's actually a better line, to be completely fair. I like that. Even though, yes, it doesn't include these highs, I think I actually like the way that looks more. We're still in the downtrend, you guys, so it's very possible we could be consolidating. But if we do something, you know, abnormal to this downtrend, if we find some bullish divergence, if we consolidate around here instead of rejecting down, that could indicate that we are ready to break out. If we break out of this downtrend in the RSI, this downtrend started when we began consolidating, I would assume that means that we're ready to break out to new all-time highs as well, right? We're ready to break out of this consolidation phase. Of course, we could keep going down. Just because we've hit the oversold zone doesn't mean that we can't go lower, but we've already discussed that possibility, right? I'm not discussing it because I think it's going to happen. I'm discussing it because if it does happen, I'm not going to sell. I don't want anybody else to sell. I want you to understand that that's just a prime buying opportunity is all that is, but it would definitely be a bit of a whiplash. You know, this would be one hell of a bull trap if we did go lower than this. That'd be crazy. Let's see here. Looking at the weekly time frame, why don't I have my RSI? Why no RSI? Where's the RSI guy? There we go. Oh, there's that. I don't know. Let's see. All right, so we are still using the brush. Okay, on a weekly time frame, on the RSI, if we can close this week green, which I think we will. It looks green right now, but technically it's down 4.7%. If we can close this week green, we'll be looking like we're bouncing off of the 50, holding higher lows in the weekly RSI and getting set up to go to the overbought zone. These are good looks, but that would be if the week closes green in the next 6 days and 9 hours, and I suspect that it will. I very much suspect that it will. 1 hour time frame here, jumping all over the place. The 1 hour to me looks like it actually might bounce from here momentarily. Probably nothing significant. I still think you're going to go to 88,000, maybe even below 88,000, like 88.3 at the very least. But maybe first you move up to 91.5 and then you move down, something like that. I definitely believe that you're going to go lower. The 1 hour makes me think that. So does the 15-minute time frame, yeah. But you're probably due for a momentary bounce now. Maybe by the time most of you guys watch this, we'll be back at like 91K or something like that, or we'll have had that move and then moving back down. But let's move on. Let's move on to the exciting stuff. Okay, when we do break out and we do see new all-time highs, if we go back to the very first bull cycle ever, if we see here from a high to a low, the bull cycle ended at the 2272, right? Actually, just above the 2272, right? You might think that $1,000 is a nice psychological level of resistance, and it is. But we went just above it, and we actually stopped at about $1,200, not $1,000. We take this next high to low here, and then here we are at the 2272, just above it. 20K would be a nice psychological level, but you stopped just below it. So again, sometimes or oftentimes with these psychological levels, you don't hit it precisely. You either exceed it just a little bit to get people's hopes up, or you leave people hanging on the edge of their seat by not hitting it entirely, getting close to it, and then pulling back from there. But that's 2 cycles in a row of like somewhat psychological resistance, I would say. High to low here, 2272 is all the way up at 207K. We did not hit it. We stopped at the 1618. And the number that we stopped at this time, I don't know if it's psychological or what, but we did have the all-time high at $69,000. So, I don't know. But in a sense, the whole market definitely got boned right here at that number 69 because we had a double top. Nobody was expecting that, or some people were. To be completely fair, some people were. There were a lot of indicators signaling that the market was done, but it was on this top. Those indicators were a little bit lagged, but they prevailed true. Anyways, the 1618 is where we topped off. So 2 cycles before it was the 2272. Last cycle was the 1618. Last cycle, undeniably the weakest cycle we ever saw. We never had in any other cycle since or before a period where we consolidated for 18 months or 17 months. We've never seen that in a bull cycle before. We've never seen a double top. Yes, it was the weakest cycle. I don't mean that from a low to a high. Of course, we're going to get diminishing returns cycle after cycle, but this cycle was especially weak. So of course, we would stop at the golden ratio and not hit the 2272. This cycle, unlike a lot of people, I actually do believe that we're going to see a stronger cycle this cycle than last cycle. What I mean by stronger is something that is overall larger. It's going to be stronger. Obviously, it's already stronger than last cycle. It's more tenacious, more methodical on the way up. But we haven't had this cycle ending spree yet, right? This thing, just so you guys are aware, Bitcoin went up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months in a row. Okay. I know it might seem weird. I know it might seem kind of like a weird concept, you guys, but here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months in a row, Bitcoin was moving up as well. Yeah, in this bull cycle already, okay. It was a lot smaller of a move. Actually, almost similar, but it started from a lower. This one started from a lower price, went up to a pretty similar price. This one started from a higher price. So it wasn't as strong overall, but still 7 months in a row. And this isn't even, this was before the halving. Every single cycle that we've ever had, if you notice here, we're going to go through. We're almost done, guys. Okay, just pay attention. You'll take something away from this, I promise you, if you haven't already. November and before November 2012, because it was November 28th was the halving of this year. Look at what happened. Look at the cycle before. Look at the cycle after. When did the big moves come in? I have to ask you, when did the big moves come in? I think it's obvious. It came in afterwards. And in fact, I like to do this. Let's do this. Let's take a low to a high. That's your pre-halving move. And then your post-halving move, let's do that. You can see here, post-halving, pre-halving. There you go. It's no longer debatable. Absolutely, the post-halving move was tremendously larger. Okay, let's move this. I don't want to keep drawing these lines. Let's just move it over. The next one was July 2016, July 9th. Okay, again, from your low to your high, that's your pre-halving move right there. That's how big it is. Which one was bigger? Was it the pre-halving move or the post-halving move? Which one was more bullish? Again, the post-halving move was more bullish. And then we take it again. We take this white line here. We move it over to the next halving, which was 2020, May 11th, which is right here. I'll ask you one last time. Let's see. Actually, that's not the last time, to be completely fair, but that's your pre-halving move. We're not going to take it from the low. I'm not going to cherry pick. I'm talking about the post-halving move. This was before the halving. So no, I'm not going to cherry pick here and try and finagle this thing. I want to be accurate. This is technical analysis. Let's be technical, my friends. That was the post-halving move. That was the pre-halving move. And while, yes, this was the closest we'd ever seen, the post-halving move was still dramatically stronger than the pre-halving move. Absolutely it was. But the pre-halving move had all this. Yeah, I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It was consolidating for 17 months. It was a weak cycle, abnormal weakness, which resulted in a double top, of which we don't have this cycle. I'm glad we agree. Good job. April 20th. That was the next halving in 2024. And I ask you now for the last time, what's going to be bigger? Is it going to be the pre-halving move? Or is it going to be the post-halving move? And if your answer is the post-halving move, I want to ask you another question. Have we seen this move come to play yet? Are we even close? Or has it only just begun? It might not have even really just begun yet, you guys. Like if you look at any of these post-halving moves, this is not post-halving move behavior. Not yet. Not yet. It's coming. It's on its way. And if we were to see the same exact move as we saw here, which we've never seen before, it's always been bigger. Always. Always been bigger with a steeper pitch. Always. Always, always, always. That's just how it is. Every single damn time. If we saw this at the same pitch from that low there, the same distance, the same exact size of a move, Bitcoin would stop at $234,000. There's no scenario at all that I see playing out where Bitcoin doesn't do something that's at least above $300,000, you guys. because it needs to be a bigger move. It doesn't need to be. Nothing needs to happen. But that's just statistically speaking, we're batting 1,000 here, okay? And this cycle also doesn't have the same weakness as the last cycle did. And yet, last cycle, the end of the cycle, we saw a 7-month period in a row where we moved up. Technically 6.5 because that month was red. If we moved up now for that same amount of time from this same low, or not this same low, but from I was only measuring from the beginning point of the move, which I'm assuming that we're going to be at now, right? I'm not taking it from this low, not the post-halving low, but from the beginning of the move, which I assume. That same movement from the weakest cycle we've ever seen, that alone would take us up to $510,000. If we did that last cycle with quantitative tightening, with high interest rates, with global inflation at all-time highs, with geopolitical conflicts going on, Russia-Ukraine war just started, right? We had a change of administration, however you want to talk about it, right? There was a lot of negative things going on in the world back in this time, right? We were basically in a recession from 2021 to 2023, you guys. A lot of people are talking about, we haven't had a recession in a while. No, we did. It was 2021 to 2023, and we're still dealing with the aftermath of that, but we're on the up and up right now. And if you don't accept that, that's only because literally, and this is not a political thing, this is just a fact, you guys. If you don't like this, if you're treating this as political, you're having a problem with the facts. This is the facts. Joe Biden and his administration had to change what the definition of a recession was, because if they didn't, we would have had to classify what happened during his term as a recession. That's a 100% certifiable fact. There's nothing political about it, okay? Just because I'm talking about Joe Biden and his administration doesn't mean it's political. I want to be as neutral and non-biased in this as possible. But if you don't accept that as a fact, then you are the one, my friend, who's being biased. So I'm letting you know, we had a bunch of bad things happening here. We literally went through a recession during this time frame over here. We're definitely not doing that now, you guys. We're on the up and up and up. We just had a crypto reserve announced by the President of the United States. The whole world is bullish on crypto. Even the people who say they're not bullish. Peter Schiff is now bullish on Bitcoin, you guys. We're in the twilight zone. And you think we're going to settle for anything less than 300K? I think we're not going to settle for anything less than this exact kind of maneuver here. The rest of the year is going to be absurdly bullish, my friends, and we're going all the way up to 500,000. Now, let's connect the dots. We'll end the video with connecting the dots. Delete all these annoying lines so it's not so hard to see, but we'll keep this one. We'll keep this one right here, okay? I'm going to put that high right there. 512, it's a little bit lower. We know it's at 510, okay? Just remember that, but basically 500K. The first cycle, high to low, you saw the 2272. The next cycle, high to low, you saw the 2272. Last cycle, we saw the high to low hit the 1618, and it was a weak cycle. We've already addressed that, right, for various reasons. From a high to low here, that number, that line, which we established without even using the fibs, is right above the 2272, as we've seen 2 times out of 3 in Bitcoin's extended cycle history. Statistically speaking, that makes the most sense to me. And that can be taken off the table. We could talk about prices that are only at 173K. We could talk about prices that are lower than anything I've discussed in this video. If we see anything less than a miraculous bounce from here. If by the end of this month we're at new all-time highs, if by the end of this month we're at 130K or more, I don't want to hear anybody talk about anything less than a multi-$100,000 Bitcoin, because that's what we're coming for. Hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Do not get shaken out on this coming low to 88K. It's a higher low, guys. It's at an area where we found support at time and time again. No, don't panic. Okay. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye. Hit the like button. Subscribe.